I have a really soft spot for Tyra because she's such a good person. She would call us individually and check in on us every week and see how we were doing and how we were feeling. And I know that was really important to her. And people don't see that or hear about that.
We know you from The Bachelorette, from Dancing with the Stars, and today we're talking about something very important here. You have a partnership with Mars Pet Care. Animal advocacy is something close to my heart as well, so I'm thrilled to talk about this with you today.
I love that.
Yeah, and first and foremost here, I want to know, how did this partnership come together? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course. So I think it came together because I myself am very passionate about rescuing. I have two rescue dogs. Their names are Ramen and Pino. I am so in love with them. I always joke that they're my babies. Any parents out there, I'm sorry, but I do love my dogs the same way. No, I'm just kidding. But I really do. I love them so much. I always say that I'm like, I fear the day I have a child for how much I can love a dog. It's like, I can't even imagine that love for a human being. So yeah, the partnership with Mars it's something I'm actually really proud of and honored to be a part of, because they're launching their Service Humans Needed program. And that's kind of, bringing awareness to the importance of supporting adoptable dogs and cats across the US and Canada. It's heartbreaking that there's a crisis happening in animal shelters right now. They're on pace to have their worst rates of overpopulation in 3 years. And there's over hundreds of thousands of dogs and cats across the US and Canada that are looking for forever homes and need our help. So I'm happy to be a voice for this.
Of course, yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about how everybody can get involved in this partnership here as well, like from home, either going into animal shelters? So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. There's so many ways. My dad is actually visiting from Canada, and I took him to the Nashville Humane so that we could go visit some of the animals there. I think it's important to do volunteer work at shelters in your area. You can foster animals, you can rescue them, you can share on social media your story, your rescue story, or if you aren't in a place to be able to, you can still share on social media. That's the beauty of having platforms these days, is being able to get important messages across. There's a website you can actually go to. It's bettercitiesforpets.com/servicehumans for more ways to get involved. And then, Mars has a very passionate team of 60,000 associates, which is incredible. And, they're doing actually a weekend coming up on October 21st to the 23rd. The events will take place in Denver, Los Angeles, Nashville, Newark, Vancouver, Washington, and Washington, D.C. And they're going to be covering adoption fees for dogs and cats in 6 cities. So I think we're just calling on everybody to do what they can, big or small. That can go a long way.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. And I love that there are so many ways that people can get involved, whether it's from home or, actually going into the shelters as well. And I know for the fostering specifically, I've actually fostered in the past. And I feel like a lot of people may not know too, like a lot of times, and I don't know if this is across the board, but a lot of times they do bring you the resources to do it. They provide like the food and stuff. So they do try and make it as easy as possible, which is great.
It's such a beautiful way to help, and you get to, reap the benefits of having a little friend around too while helping out.
Yeah, definitely. And, you mentioned that you have 2 dogs of your own. Would you ever consider, fostering or maybe adopting another one into the mix?
Yeah. So our really good friends in Nashville, they foster all the time. And because actually, so does my assistant, because we're gone a lot. But we were just talking about that actually when this partnership came up. I was like, I've always wanted to foster. So yeah, I would like to get more into fostering, because I've obviously seen and done the research on how much that can help as well. But yeah, so many of my friends foster in Nashville too. It's incredible.
How do you think Ramen and Pino would do with another
They
animal?
would love it. They love cats. They love other dogs. They are 2 of the easiest dogs to get along with. And it's so fun to watch them. I actually was getting gas the other day and saw a poor little dog on the side of the street that was going to go start crossing. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm looking for their owner and there wasn't one. And so I picked up this dog and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, where are your owner? And I start yelling around the neighborhood. I'm like, is anybody missing a dog? Like it was this sweet little pup. And so I put him in my car and took him to PetSmart to see if he had a chip, and he did. And we couldn't find the owners. And I ended up driving around for like 3 hours and I found him. I found his owner. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was about to have a new dog at home.
Kaitlyn Bristowe to the rescue there.
I will. I was like, now I'm like, I think the man, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I'm pretty sure he was a homeless man who had this. And so now I keep food in my car just for if I'm driving around, and there are, homeless people with dogs out there, and even helping in that way. It's just, anything you can.
Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
I love talking about this subject too. I mean, I have a little animal right here. She's literally on my lap right now.
Oh, honey.
Because otherwise she would be
I want to see. Can I see?
Okay. This is her first introduction.
Oh my gosh, what a sweetie.
And I actually I adopted her earlier this year. So this is just such a topic close to my heart. I
love that. Well, thank you.
And I'm so glad that you are spreading the word about this. And, it's such an important thing. So definitely. And, I did want to transition a little bit since I do have you here, Dancing with the Stars is on right now. And of course, I need to ask you all about the season. Are you watching it first and foremost?
Of course I am. I have a new respect for the show and for all the dancers and all the hard work that they put in. I don't think we see even the half of the hard work that goes into this show. And I always enjoyed watching because I grew up loving dance. And so I always grew up watching it from season 1. So to now have been on it and won the Mirrorball, I watch it through a whole different lens now.
Yes, definitely. And, you do have your Bachelorette, family member there, Gabby. She's in the game and she's killing it, honestly.
She's so good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Have you talked to her about the experience? Have you given her any advice, anything like that?
Yeah, as soon as I found out she was going on, I reached out and just said, here for you through anything, because it's one of the most challenging things, especially coming straight off of another mentally, physically exhausting show like The Bachelorette. To jump into Dancing with the Stars, especially in a fresh new relationship, is really challenging. So I just told her, here for you no matter what you need, and get yourself an ice foot bath because you're going to need it.
Oh my gosh, I could imagine.
Yeah.
You mentioned Gabby here, she's killing it, but who do you think is going to win the season? Is there anybody in particular you're rooting for? I know you kind of have like the bias there with Gabby, but anything.
I know. Well, I honestly, I'm blown away with Charli D'Amelio and her mom, Heidi. They are just like natural entertainers and very talented. But I'm also rooting for the underdogs too. First of all, Daniel, I think he's one of the most inspiring people they've ever had on the show. And to watch Britt, his partner, pick up sign language to have better communication with his partner is so cool to watch. And then Jessie James Decker, I just had her on my podcast, and seeing, she's not a dancer. She didn't even know how to point her toes, and to see her improvement is making me want to root for her as well. And, she lives in Nashville and she's going back and forth just to, be a hands-on mom. She still takes her kids to gymnastics and soccer and has her husband and put their relationship first. And so she's working really hard, and I feel like she deserves to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And my gosh, there are so many people who are so talented. I mean, even you mentioned Charli. I knew she could do the TikTok dancing, but I didn't know it was on this level of.
She looks like a pro out there. The way she can move her hips in a cha-cha and certain things that she's doing, I'm like, she looks like she's done this before.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh my gosh. So I don't know who's going to win the Mirrorball Trophy, but
I don't know either.
It's a hot competition there. And
it really is. I'm glad I'm not on this season.
Oh my gosh. And, I did want to ask too, I cover the show every week. One of the biggest things that I see is people talk about Tyra. I know you were the first I believe you were the first season that she was on as a host. I was wondering, have you seen some of the things that people say? It's always very negative, unfortunately. I think she's a great host, honestly.
She's also a really good person.
Yeah. So I was wondering what your take is on that, and maybe a little bit of the backlash that she gets as somebody who first and foremost has worked with her and has also had the experience of being a host as well.
I have a really soft spot for Tyra because she's such a good person. She would call us individually and check in on us every week and see how we were doing and how we were feeling. And I know that was really important to her. And people don't see that or hear about that. And she gets, I don't know why people are so hard on her, but I think people don't like change. And that franchise has had, those two, I'm blanking, Tom and Aaron, for so long. And I think they just were so comfortable with the same thing that they were used to on their TV screens. It's the same thing when Chris Harrison wasn't the face of the Bachelor franchise anymore. People had a lot of backlash towards that. And to the new people coming in, I know because I was one of them. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, first of all, hosting live television, I dare anyone to try and do it because it is so challenging and you make mistakes and you say things that you regret. And it's a really hard job to do. Yeah, I mean, look at Alfonso. He's one of the best. I love him and he's an incredible host and he makes mistakes too. So people are just so quick to jump on, what they don't like and what they're not used to. And it's really unfortunate.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important thing to keep in mind. I mean, everybody's human, people make mistakes all the time. It's just such a natural thing. And I like that you have that message there for the viewers, maybe to something to keep in mind as you're watching. And, I do want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Our time is at an end here, unfortunately. I could talk to you all day, especially about animals and everything like that.
I know. I could too. Thank you for having me to talk about this and getting the message out there. I appreciate it.